Flop culture.
Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. How you doing, Josh?
I'm good.
Oh man, it feels good to be back doing this, especially after the day I've had. Dentist.
Oh yeah, you have had a day.
Dentist today. So.
Yeah, you have had a day today.
Sorry if I kind of slur a little bit. Yeah, if you notice that little guy right there, from what the work they've done, it kind of stained my lip a little bit. It's okay though. It's okay.
That was where you got kissed, right?
Yeah. He said, "Mwah, have a good day." He's the best dentist ever. I mean, that's the kind of dentist I like.
That's the only kind of dentist I would go to.
It's the only kind of dentist I have. Oh, man.
All right. So, we're at episode 6. We got off of our normal Tuesdays because we needed to. So, instead, we're coming at you Thursday.
Well, the tooth is kind of why Tuesday didn't happen this week.
Yeah.
I was in excruciating pain Tuesday, so
you were messed up.
I couldn't do it.
That's the good thing, though, about having one of these being done like as a partnership with an actual friend of yours as opposed to just a dude, because I got it. Whenever you're like, man, can't do Tuesday, and it's like, okay, we'll reschedule. Not a big deal. Could you imagine trying to do that with somebody who's like, Dags, come on, we got it scheduled, man. You're fucking everything up.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've kind of been that guy before, so I can't. Like, I can be difficult at times. Yeah, I can be difficult at times. I used to be pretty difficult.
Maybe back then, I don't remember you.
I took it way more serious. I took everything way more serious. I don't know why I keep leaning forward like that because I'm scratching my leg. But I took things way too serious. And if I can give anybody a piece of advice in life, don't take things so seriously. Enjoy things. That matters more.
Enjoy life.
Stop.
It's supposed to be fun.
Enjoy it. Be open to ideas.
Yeah, it's supposed to be fun.
It's supposed to be.
Anyway, so,
I think I got band of the day this week, right?
Yes, you do. Who is the band of the day?
Black Dahlia Murder because of that latest album release. Oh my god. Have you checked it out?
Oh yeah.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Verminous?
Yes. That bit of one.
Dude, that whole record's a banger. Mm-hmm. It's different for him. Like, it still retains Dahlia, but, me and you talked about that before, where Trevor and I think it's Ryan, right?
I'm terrible with the names of bands anymore.
I think that's it. If it's not, then, blow me up over it. But they're the only original members left. But the rest of the band is completely different members. So we kind of figured that the writing style would be a little bit different. But no, dude, the record is great.
It's a banger.
Great record. Which both of us are biased. We both love the Black Dahlia Murder, so.
Yeah, I probably would have liked it even if it was terrible. I've been like, that's awesome. Oh, it's so good.
We still would have probably jumped on board and ended up liking it.
Yeah. It's kind of hard not to like that.
Great record. Dags in particular, since he has band of the day, we highly recommend you go and check it out. I am trying to, for one, I'm trying to get my cat to piss off.
Oy,
and he won't. Oh, God, it got bright. I got washed out, son.
Well, that's the whole, when you have a screen in front of you.
I drew attention to my flash-like wings of hair that go over my ears.
Hey man,
God, I need a haircut.
it's pandemic hair. It's okay.
That is a recurring segment during this pandemic podcast session.
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
progress. Like, look
it
at
keeps
this.
coming back to me and you are like, God, I need a haircut.
It's the whole reason. Like,
Uh,
I haven't shaved. Like, I know I look ridiculous, especially this stuff. It curls. It's like curly Q. I mean, it looks like it
oh
looks
yeah,
like an ice cream top. Like, you know.
my shit's like a wave.
But I just where everything else just looks so messy, where I can't really get a haircut. I'm just
Right.
let everything else look messy. I'm about
Just
to
work
just
with
get
what
some.
you got.
I'm about to just go get some clippers and do it
Have
myself.
Tiff do it.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna do it
have Tiff do
myself.
it.
I'll start it and have her finish. I'll
She
have
can
her
see
line
the
me
back
up.
of your head where you can't.
That's true.
Ow, fuck. Okay, so band of the day is Black Dahlia. Second thing that we are trying to start getting onto with these episodes is a segment that we're affectionately dubbing as Best Friends. Dax, what have you been up to, buddy?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, last week I swapped that pickup and that guitar, so
Yes, you
I've
did.
been jamming with that bad boy this week.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to mess around with the intonation a little
Oh,
bit, trying to
that
make some
sucks.
minor adjustments. Well, I mean, it's not really out or anything. I'm just trying to make some minor adjustments to like my liking, and it feels like it's I don't know. It like the action
I
feels a
hate
little
it.
high, so when you adjust the action, you kind of have to adjust the intonation too, and it's just
Right.
I just
I hate messing with intonation on, especially a bass. A bass sucks to have to properly intonate.
I mean, this guitar,
Hate
like,
it.
it was always, the action was always kind of high anyway. I mean, so
It is pretty high.
it's one of those Epiphone Goths.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess when you give it, I guess where the action's so high, when you give it thicker strings, it feels kind of right. So
Right.
maybe that's the problem too. Maybe I just need to put it in lower tuning. Maybe that'll help because that's what I used to do with it. But here lately,
Right.
I've been keeping it in drop D. And you know,
Mhm.
I feel like it's actually funny that you say that we're talking about this. I was in a conversation the other day where somebody actually asked like, does like string size matter for like tunings and genre and stuff? And
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a pretty straightforward answer, but like I saw a lot of different responses to that.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah. So like, what's your initial response to does tuning or does string size matter for tuning or genre?
Yeah. Yeah,
It
to
does.
me it does.
To me, it does too. Just in certain aspects. I'm not saying in every aspect, and I'm not saying everything I'm
Right.
saying is right, but I am trying to say like, if you play in like, I don't know, like C standard, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and then like drop further than that, you might, you know, you definitely want to get something besides like a 46
Oh, yeah,
on your
for
low
sure.
end. You know, I think you want
Or
to
it's
get
just
some.
going to sound like banjo strings.
Yeah, and it's gonna be a little tougher to play, but like man, like I feel like it sounds better. Like it sounds way better.
Yeah. It's a little bit tighter, I feel like, if you're
Yes.
playing, especially if you're on a short scale length guitar, that playing with a thicker gauge string seems to hold that lower tuning better. You know?
And I don't know why, but I just needed to tell you about that so I could get that justification on that. Like I was like,
Hey.
yes, that's it. That's what you're supposed to do. But
Hey, man. It
But then,
works.
like-
That's what we're here for.
but then like I had people in there saying like, dude, I use like these for everything, and it's like it works just fine to me. I think like they were just saying like if you adjust certain things about the neck, you don't ever have to really change the string girth. And I
Right.
was like, what? And blew my mind. Like I'm not saying like they were wrong. I'm just saying like that was I was like I thought that was like a one trick thing, and I was very surprised at the answers on that.
I don't know. I mean, you are an actual guitar player, whereas I play guitar or bass as, you know, yeah, I play them as instruments and I play them for fun. But I wouldn't consider myself like to know what I'm doing. I wouldn't necessarily say that. I know enough. But in regards to like preference in terms of like strings and string tension and you know, gauges of strings, manufacturers of. I will say this though, since we got onto that topic in a really roundabout way, for my bass, Dags already knows this, and so does Randall because it's in our group chat.
Are you still gonna go on about this?
I'm going on about this because this is ridiculous. If anybody else runs into this, I just want you to know here's a situation I've had with them, and you can tell me if it's similar, or I'm giving you a heads up on what not to do. I bought a pack of GHS boomers for my bass. And I have been playing boomers on it for like years. Really, I've stuck with that string just because it's comfortable. It always holds tune. It's just a well manufactured string, I guess. Um, so I bought those, right? And at the time, this is during this crazy pandemic thing, right? So
So
I
he
bought
had to
them.
punch a guy and just take
I
him.
can't get them. Like I don't know where anybody who will watch this. I don't know what it's like where you guys are at, but during the pandemic thing, we've got in West Virginia or in Charleston centrally, we've got like a music store, and it's not the greatest, but it gets the job done. And during the pandemic, they would have you, hey, call if you're sitting out in front of the door, call us, tell us what you want. We'll go and walk around and find the thing and tell you what your options are. Then, if that's what you want, we'll come out to the car with a card reader. Or no, they didn't even come out to the car. It was you had to tell them your card information over the phone for them to charge it. Then they'd bring you the shit out to the car. So it was a whole drawn out process. I was already over it. I got home.
I can see where that would be daunting, though. Yeah.
I'm taking out the strings. I got all of my strings off my bass already. I get the E on, I get the A on, I get the D on. Everything's good, whatever. Then I get to the G string. And I get to the G, and it's missing. There's no pack whatsoever. There's no string. There's no sleeve for said string in the pack. It's just not in the damn thing. So I'm looking around to see if it fell out. It didn't. I'm looking on the floor to see if it might have been in my car. It wasn't. I looked into every crevice I could think of that it might have fallen. It had not. So I'm talking to Dags, and Dags has more experience with talking with companies on in terms of like the guitar strings and whatnot. And he suggested to me correctly, hey, get a hold of their customer service and say, listen, I'm missing this thing. It didn't come in the new pack that I just opened. This is what I'm trying to get. And chances are great, they'll probably send you a pack of strings just for the inconvenience so you don't go blast them on like social media or whatever, which I wouldn't do. But, just to play safe, we're anticipating, right? I emailed them, and I'm allotting some time because it's in a pandemic. I email them, and it's like 3 weeks later, I get an email back from their customer service that says that, yeah, you're missing a string. Which string is it? And we'll send it to you. A string.
See, that's...
And no, what?
I mean, it's funny because, like...
It's hilarious.
Like, I laugh because it's like, they're not really wrong because they are giving you the only thing you're missing.
Right,
but it is funny that it's like you had to wait so long for said string.
I'm using,
and then like...
I'm using the old G the whole time so I could keep my thing intonated. I'm using the old G string just to keep the tension on the neck properly. So I'm using an old string that was on there, right? And my argument, like I've told you guys, is not that I didn't get a pack of strings entirely, because truth be told, I wasn't expecting anything. But the fact that you responded 3 weeks later and you weren't like, oh, I'm really sorry that you spent $24 on our pack of strings, and quality control didn't ensure that all 4 fucking strings were in the package.
That's where I feel like you're pretty justified in being upset, because it's like like bass. I don't know. I mean, if you're a musician, you kind of get it, but if you're not,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe guitar players don't get it. Maybe like there's some guitar players going, strings aren't that expensive. For bass guitars, they are. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I used to think that way, when I was like, first started playing music. I didn't know any better. Somebody was just like, I gotta get bass-free strings. I'm like, or somebody's bass would be like, have like dead strings. I'm like, man, you need to get new strings for these. And they'd be like, you will give me the money for them? And I'm just like, sure. How much? Like $6-7?
Oh yeah, dude.
I didn't realize that I was like being insulting by doing that. Because then you go and actually check them out, and you're just like, oh my god, 25 is like kind of cheap for like a pretty good pack of strings. Like, you're actually looking more like 30-40 for like a decent set.
Yeah, it definitely depends on the company too. But after that and the whole experience, like, I'm I'm what's probably referred to as a piss ass with stuff like that. You get like one chance in terms, if that, you get like one chance. If you fuck that up, chances are great I'm done with you. And after them not apologizing from a customer service perspective about it, I'm almost full blown Karen about being like, no, I'm just not even going to give you any business. Actually, Karen would have asked to speak to their supervisor.
Karen.
I didn't want
You'd totally be a Karen if you were a woman.
I would, if I were a woman, maybe.
Maybe. Well, that's just funny though, because I feel like I've done stuff like this before. Like I've had issues, and you've contacted somebody, and you're like, hey, this thing happened, and they're like, oh, that sucks. Right. Here, let me send you a brand new one. So sorry about that. And it's just like, and then like they give you a whole pack or something like that. You're like, oh, cool, thanks, Ernie Ball. You know,
right. Well, and you just made my segue. Ernie Ball is who I always put on my strap, and Ernie Ball is who I'm going to start moving to for my bases.
Ernie Ball's my man.
I'm sticking with Ernie Ball because they're great strings. We're obviously, I know you're watching Ernie Ball because you're a big fan of the show.
Listen, but your strings to die for.
They make us wet.
The way my fingers feel across. Okay.
But no, that you just reminded me of this whole big spiel. I completely forgot to talk about last week about bass strings, and if I did talk about them, I'm sorry, whoever you are that actually watched it. I'm talking about it again. I don't really remember. I did, however.
Remember.
What?
Do you remember that? Do you remember that part from? No, I was just quoting. It's Dexter's Laboratory. Very shinfo.
Oh.
But it's like it's the part where like he can't find Valhalla and the Super Friends. He can't find his guitar, and like Major Glory's like, "Quick, Valhalla, tell us where was the last place you've been?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't remember." And he's like, "Were you?" It's like, "Where you at playing music?" "Oh, I don't remember." And it's just that was the answer for everything was, "Oh, I don't remember."
That's classic.
So, I just think of that when I hear you say that.
We
kind of look like Valhalla.
Sweet. We both got today, in fact. Or did you get your thing in the mail today, or was it yesterday?
What thing?
The thing you were just talking about before we started the show. Did I give it away? Hands behind the back?
Oh, yeah, I did get that today.
Did you get yours today?
That came in the mail today, yeah. That was a new pickup. $20. It was a $20 thing on Amazon. I couldn't pass it up.
So me and Dags both had mail calls for today. Dags can go first because he got the better deal.
Oh, yeah, mail call. You can see it right here. I'm a dork. Like, I like to collect nerdy stuff, man. I'm into action figure. Right now, I'm big on wrestling action figures. Eventually, I'm going to move to DC because they've been like releasing some really cool ones, especially about McFarlane. I don't know what it is. It's just I've always been into action figures even when I was a kid. So just something about having them. I just makes me feel good. Anyway, I got this bad boy today. $20, man. I kind of went with the traditional New Japan pose. Shinsuke Nakamura, Ultimate Edition. Classic. Ultimate Edition figure. I mean, it's pretty sweet, man.
Now, how much is that figure regularly?
It's a $30 figure. So like the fact that I got it for 20 shipped, I was pretty stoked.
That's a damn good deal.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Because I mean, if anybody, you eBayers and Bakari people out there, when you can get it 20 shipped like that, that means it's shipping included. Oh, that's a deal, man. That's a hell of a deal. Because nobody wants to pay for shipping.
No, not at all. Oh. So you got your Shinsuke in the mail today.
Thanks for putting me on the spot about that too. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, oh, you're gonna make me show that part of my life? You're gonna make me be that kind of person?
If it's not in the background of you.
I wasn't gonna talk about it. It's just there for like scenery. I don't care.
I completely had forgotten because when we had James on the show like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, he got to talking about old merch for Harm's Way that had gotten restocked. And as he was talking about it, I was sitting there like, damn, I already bought 2 of those shirts that just got restocked, and they just got here. So repping by far one of my favorite bands. You got that.
That's a sick
and
one.
yeah, and one of their old shirts.
Sick.
Yeah. So, James, because I know you're a big fan of the show now after having been on it,
Best friends.
cheap plug. If you are or did listen to Harm's Way and after him being on the show, go to their merch store and buy all of it because they deserve it.
They're pretty
They're a
good
great band.
They're pretty good band.
They're pretty good.
Pretty good.
They're pretty good.
Okay. They just kind of they just kind of tick all the boxes, you know.
They really do. They tick every box
All
in the right spot every time.
Yeah.
So now that we've talked about bass strings and now that we've talked about stuff we got in the mail,
and you should make that a segment since you're like a big fisherman, not a fisherman. You can be like bass strings and bass strings.
I thought you were going to go to a Primus segue when you said when you're a fisherman. I thought that was going to be when I grow up, I want to be.
One of the hardest I've seen.
That's where I thought you were going.
That's one of my favorite Primus songs, man. Like I love that song.
They're so great. Primus is such an underrated band too. Is what's sad. I know people can't get past Les's vocals for the most part. But if you just listen to the music at minimum, like I know a lot of people don't like him, vocally rather, kind of like Geddy with Rush. I get a lot of people that's not their cup of tea. But musically, you got to respect how good they are. Even if you don't like the actual songs, you have to expect or respect, rather, how good they are as musicians. Like, they're incredible.
Beyond the gilded gaze.
This is about to wash me out like a ghost.
You had to say Geddy, and now I'm like just hearing, like I'm hearing Limelight just over and over in my head now.
Well, and in fairness, we were talking about Limelight before the show started, so I understand why.
That's totally stuck in my head now. So I'm going to
imagine that. I'm talking about Rush at some point. Who would have seen that coming?
Anybody that knows you.
Yeah, anybody who knows me, that's for sure.
Anybody who knows you. Anybody who knows
you. You don't even have to actually know me. You just have to know of me, and chances are great you've heard something about my love of Rush.
You just look like a guy.
I feel like a guy
that would like Rush.
But especially a guy that loves Rush.
Like if I sit there and if I was analyzing you, I'd be like,
he's probably a big Rush fan.
Something tells me he likes Rush.
I don't know what would, especially if you were like looking at
something says this guy loves Rush.
My upper arm or my legs or something to where you'd be like, I just don't know what it is about him that makes you think this guy loves Rush. I don't know what it is.
It's like if you've ever been around him while he's warming up and you're like,
I'm probably playing Rush.
Something makes me think that this guy loves Rush.
So now we've covered all sorts of random. Now we're going to get into other random stuff, but preferably stuff that you all can relate to. That if you're watching on the playback, we're getting into. I guess we could go in order. Actually, let me come back to one of them because I don't have the criteria met for the next one.
Terrible co-host.
I know, man. I'm behind. We pulled up the list like right before we went live, and I was like, shit, what order do we want to go down?
I like how terrible this is. For some reason, this feels real.
It's authentic. It's definitely authentic.
This feels like how Wayne's World would have started if Wayne's World were real.
No, you're right.
And we'll just get better. Eventually, I'm going to get my mixer back set up to where I can do like the sound and the music and stuff we did. Yeah. I'm just not. I don't have that equipment anymore right now.
Right.
You know.
I do have us
I don't have the funds.
I do have us a lead though on a mixer.
Mixer.
Yeah, I've got us a lead on a good
finally
digital
make
mixer.
Milkshakes. Finally, good mixer.
That was necessary. So let's go to this. Movies that are better than the book. Now, it's a controversial topic. A lot of people, and including myself, would 9 times out of 10 say that the book is better than the movie in regards to one being made into a film. However, there are a few that I would say I prefer the film over the book.
And what might those be, Josh?
And what would that be? Well, we already know the one. My major one that I go to always is The Shining, 100% of the time.
Oh, you did it last week. New.
That's what I said. My next one that I would prefer the movie over the book. There was an adaptation of a novel called Serena. Serena.
I was gonna say Selena, the singer. Really?
No,
I was gonna say that's surprising. Like, I was gonna say I knew you were like into a lot of different kinds. I was gonna say that's.
I am, but that's not it. No, it's Serena, and the film adaptation has
Serena Williams, like.
Oh shit, what's her name? Jennifer Lawrence and Bradley Cooper, of all people. It's kind of like a not even that late. Probably like a 2012, 2013 film ish. The book is kind of slow and gives you a little too much detail about like certain characters that are background people. Totally not necessary, and I think it's really just meant to be a swerve. Whereas the film is kind of like a straight line through the story, and I feel like to keep the attention of most people, that's going to be better because it's just a straight line to it. Now, I'm not going to give you spoilers of the film or anything, but it's totally worth checking out if you like sort of Western. It's not really a Western film, but it takes place in the early 1900s. In an Appalachian kind of area, but it's cool. But really, I just prefer the film of that book versus vice versa. Do you have one, Dax, that you prefer the film over the book?
Why, thank you for asking, Josh. No.
I don't have any.
I don't read a lot of books. I feel like we've talked about this before, but that's fun though because This is a little segment that. I can just be quiet for a minute, let you do your thing, and then insult you at the end of it. Because I don't read no good and stuff.
I read a lot. I do read a lot.
I don't read, I read comics.
Yeah, you do.
I mean, maybe
that's...
There's
graphic novels as a whole, too.
I do like graphic novels quite a bit. Again, nerdy. But shocking, right?
Right.
But, I don't read a lot of books. Not because I don't like books, but I'm not the fastest reader. I read slow.
Okay.
I kind of have to almost act it out in my mind as I'm reading for me to completely
I got it.
comprehend. So I have to focus so hard on it. It's just it's stupid. That's what I'm trying to say politely.
No, a lot of people are like that, man. That some people just don't read it and instantaneously retain it. Like they need to see it essentially acted out in their head. And I
like Audible. I listen to Audible. Does that count?
Now those are great. Yeah, that counts as reading because you are hearing the book.
Because I do learn better when I listen. I like listening to things.
I don't know if you're like this.
That's how I learned to play guitar though too. It's just like, reading little tabs and trying to match out the sounds just by listening to it.
I don't know if you're like this too. I've done it a lot actually with films that I didn't necessarily know were based off of a book. And I'll go back retroactively and read the book, and it's easier to retain because you can visualize those characters.
I've read comics that way. I've watched a movie and been like, oh, that's a cool movie. I've never read anything. Like, for example, Guardians of the Galaxy. Was never really a big Guardians fan. I'm not even really the biggest Marvel fan. Like, I like Marvel. I'm not trying to crap on Marvel because I really do like Marvel. But I prefer DC to Marvel, like big time. And just because they got the Batman, I'm Batman. And I just got to have that. But
I'm with you on DC 100%. My Marvel's very limited to essentially Deadpool and the Star Wars that they do the comics for.
Right. Well, I mean, that's still Star Wars, though. I don't think that's really
Star Wars.
It's not like a It's not like a
It's not Marvel made it.
Yeah, exactly. It's not one of those things.
Right.
But it's I really got into Guardians of the Galaxy that way. I started reading more of their comics and stuff because those movies were so good. And if you really want to go by like what do I like better, the movies or the books, I like how they portrayed the movie characters and that better than the comic book from like the storyline that I think the movie was based off of, or what I was, the arcs I followed that it was supposed to be, loosely based on or supposedly based on. Which, I mean, I'm not even going to open up that can of worms. Like the fact that, like, what book did they take from what to make movies? Like they take from all the different books, and it's cool. Yeah. But it's also because they do that so much, they take from different story arcs, and it doesn't make sense. Anyway,
for sure.
I'm not going to open that can.
No,
that's
don't
next
go
week.
Into...
Come back next week, and I'll bitch about Marvel.
Yeah, don't go into gratuitous detail until people will actually bite into it.
Right. But I like what they've done with this better. I feel like in the comic books, I feel like Gamora was more badass and cooler.
Mm-hmm.
But in this one, I dig the relationship between her and Star-Lord. I kind of dig that. I don't know why. I didn't think I was going to because I saw it from the very beginning. I was like, it's gonna be stupid. And then like you're just at the end of it, you're like, oh yeah, go you.
I did that with. I've heard a lot of people because I haven't seen any of the Guardians films.
They're good, man. They're really good.
I've heard a lot of people say that are.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
That they prefer the film version of Drax to the comic version of Drax.
Yeah, Drax in the comics.
A lot of people say that.
Drax in the comic is a little bit more. In some adaptations, he's a little bit more cartoony, like kind of like one mind only. He's got one objective, and it's to fight and hunt down Thanos. And then you've got other adaptations to where he's more like based off the movie now because of the movie. Mm-hmm. So like his characters kind of changed the way the movie portrayals kind of changed how the way the comics universe he's portrayed now. Same with same with like Iron Man, Tony Stark. Like Robert Downey Jr. changed that. Like he was already like, and the thing is he was pretty much just playing the character how it should be played, but he's just so good. His mannerisms are so great that he essentially just redeveloped that, and that's what Batista did, or Dave Batista did with Drax. Man, he made him funny. He's kind of goofy. But you feel for him. He's a little bit more sympathetic, empathetic, and in like the comic book version, like Thanos, like it drives down to Earth, runs their car off the road, kills him and his wife and his daughter, and like his soul is like restless or whatever, and then like a being, I can't remember the being, but they like put his soul like in the body of Drax the Destroyer, and he's hell bent on getting revenge for his family, which is cool, but at the same time, like he had a cape and shit, didn't really like go with it. Like, why would this character have a cape? Like Drax the Destroyer, like
that seems kind of lame.
So when he showed up and looked a little bit more like God of War, it's just like,
better. Yeah. CM Punk wrote a Drax series too, didn't he?
CM Punk has wrote a lot for Marvel, actually.
I do remember me and you both did actually, the one he did for Kung Fu Master.
Yeah, that one was funny. Like at the end of it, they get ice cream bars.
Yeah, he did great.
I liked it.
Dude.
I thought it was good.
Surprisingly well.
He's a great.
I didn't read the Drax one though.
I didn't read that one either, but from what I have read of his stuff, like I like him. I think he's good.
Yeah,
I like Kevin Smith's stuff a lot too. Not a lot of people don't. A lot of people do. But, yeah, man, it's that's one thing I do like about how comics are today. Even though I don't follow them as strong as I used to, I would much rather get like the whole thing in a set and read it in like a sitting, as opposed to getting a bunch of different ones weekly and reading them. That's
like the trade paperback.
Yeah. I like to get, even that, I like to kind of wait and get like the omnibus, or maybe not the omnibus, but like the volume sets of them. They look cool on a coffee table. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like that's that's cool, like, nerdy but adult. Like, oh, look at my coffee table with my mini bound books. Comic books.
They look professional.
They're so sexy.
Until they open it and they're like, oh, this is full
of
pictures.
Yeah. It's like, it's all cool and I'm looking sweet. And they're like, what's this? And it's just like, oh, you don't read. You just... No.
It's just a paperback.
And they
Now,
challenged me. They're like, "You should read War and Peace," and I'm like, "Oh, it would take me like
I'm good.
3 years, man, at my pace."
I've never, ever sat through and made it through even the first page of War and Peace. I thought I
What?
wanted to one time. I was wrong.
Would you like? Do you? When you were in like elementary school and high school, did they make you like take a book home from the summer, and then you had to read it and like do a report on it and stuff? Like you had like summer work.
Uh, in middle school, for sure. I think. Okay, so my memory would be a little bit hazier for the high school portion of it. Middle school, they definitely did. High school, I feel like yes, but you got to pick your book at that time as long as it met the criteria. So, like, they didn't tell you a specific book.
Oh, I
Um,
never got to pick a book. I was just given a book, and they were like, "Here, this is called A Brave New World. Read it." I'm like, "Okay," and then I read
I
it, and I'm like, "This is punishing." Like, not because like the
I
book was necessarily terrible, but because like I'm such a slow reader. It's just like it's gonna take me all summer to read this. Like,
I think it was my junior year or maybe my senior year. I don't remember, but I sly kind of not. It wasn't a lie. It was just they didn't really know what it was about per se. Um, I got away with getting to read one of Neil's books and do a report on it. Uh, because I'd already read everything Neil had written. So for me, if I could get by with that, my summer was free because I could have wrote a report on that the same day.
I got to do that in
And
middle school. They did let us pick
yeah,
not the summer project, but in middle school or in, not middle school, but elementary school. They let us pick a book from Scholastics, and we had to do a report on it. So I picked a book on the
right.
Rock. I do it.
Uh,
I do it for the Rock.
we I don't even remember why I was able to get away with Neil's book. I feel like it's because the topic had to be autobiographical, and Neil's would constitute as autobiographical, even though it wasn't an autobiography. It
Right.
was like a real life, travel kind of thing. So I did. I think it was Ghost Rider. So that one's more autobiographical.
Yeah, because
Um,
like he makes relations to like what he's seeing and what he's doing to things in his
right,
past.
right.
So it's I would say because I've been listening to a little bit of it on Audible. I'd say it's more of like a kind of like a memoir in a way.
Oh,
Like
for
it's
sure.
like you're
Yeah,
getting the essence of his past, but you're also getting this journey that he's on. It's I don't know, it's pretty cool. Like what I've listened to, it's cool, man.
it's a
Um,
great book. If I could recommend, unbiased as a Neil fan, because like I said, everything he's written I've read. Um, if I could recommend anything for anybody that's even considering reading Neil's books, Ghost Rider, Travels on the Healing Road is the one. And then second, if you're more into fiction, give Clockwork Angels a try. It's what's based off of the record Clockwork Angels, and then there was a sequel to it, Clockwork Lives, that came out, and it's great. It's kind of steampunk, um, kind of like a traveling thing. Kind of think 2112, but in a steampunk world as opposed to a dystopian future world. Kind of that man against the masses story. It's great. Um, and I don't want to plug that whole thing about Neil. I want to get in our last little bit of topics there so that we're, because I know your mouth has got to be fucking with you,
it
probably.
hurts. I'm not gonna lie to you.
That's what I figured. I know you.
I need to get
Uh,
some ibuprofen off of my
I was bro.
system.
So I'm gonna get these last things in here, and then we'll come to a close. And I'm back to a coast. So we've done that. A segment that we introduced last week, and we're going to try to maybe not get it in every episode, but at least one every other episode, is a segment called We Did It Better. Cliff note of it is taking a film, a TV show, whatever, and what we would do to make it better. If it's got like a glaring flaw in it, where you would look at it and say, I could fix it. For me, this week, mine is on the TV show Scandal. I recently started watching that. Um, and the show's good as a whole. The concept's cool. It's about a crew that works around the president, trying to keep the president in office, but you find out all of the dirty, underhanded shit that they did to keep him in office, that they did these cover ups, there's affairs, there's all sorts of stuff. The problem with the show is that it's created by the same person who did Grey's Anatomy, which is Shonda Rhimes. And Shonda Rhimes has a tendency to write shows in the headspace of I don't know a good way to really put it other than men suck, women are good. But women are good, but they don't need to be put to the point where it's a battling with men thing. People should just come to terms with, this is what you do, this is what we do. We coincide and we exist happily ever after. You know, that's just how it is.
But nothing's that easy though, ever.
Well, because people make it difficult. So that's kind of the general broad stroke of the show. And my problem being the main character, Olivia Pope. She's played by Kerry Washington, who is great. She's a fantastic actress. I loved a lot of stuff that she's done. She was in that Amazon show, Little Fires Everywhere, and
I need to get on some Amazon shows. I've fallen off of them. I've not watched I don't think I've watched a good Amazon show since The Boys.
Castle Rock.
I haven't watched Castle Rock. I need to watch that.
Oh, you need to. Castle Rock's great. Really good.
Have you seen The Boys?
And he got 2 seasons. I think I've started an episode a few months ago, and then I just never got around to finishing it.
Oh, it's great. It's superheroes for adults. It's just...
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's basically like if you're pulling back the curtain on like the industry of something, and like you find out like Superman's really not all that pure-hearted and stuff like that. Like it's really dark. It's terrible. It's hilarious. It's awesome. Strikes every nerve.
Well, cool.
I'm pretty sure it's a Garth Ennis. I think Garth Ennis wrote it. I think it's the same guy that did Preacher wrote this one. So that, if that gives you any indication. But
oh, cool. But
oh yeah, it's good.
Check it out then.
It's good.
Yeah, what was?
Can't remember the main guy's name, but it's been a minute.
I've read a lot of good things about it. I've just never actually watched it.
That might be one you can chalk up to. I like the show better than the book. Like I've been reading the book after I watched the show. I started reading the book. And I like the book, but like I think the show's better.
Just prefer the show.
Yeah.
See, look.
But I've noticed
about way you found one.
And I was saying, like I've kind of come to find that if I find something visually first, I think I like it more than if I read it. And if I read it first, I like that more than when I watch it. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay. I think for me, it depends on which one gets me into the concept. Like which one broke me into it.
Right. But I get that then.
Sweet tea.
It's definitely that. We have stuff that's just started to open recently around where we live in Charleston. And the mall being one, as we've talked about before, I'm a big sneakerhead. And I've been saving these to show Dags.
I'm trying to get ideas for like music in between these segments while you're doing this. Like,
so you got little segues.
Yeah, like I'm just trying to like think of some stuff. Like, yeah, when I start getting this shit, I can do this there. So
yeah.
We're
making mental notes.
Yeah, sorry. I know, I'm just kind of thinking out loud here.
So I went and one of my buddies, he's the manager down there at Foot Locker in the mall. And I was just kind of looking around. Me and him was shooting the shit and talking. And they had a great deal. Now, I'm actually not a big fan of this style, this particular model of shoe. But this colorway, I'm a huge fan of in almost every shoe I've ever seen it done on. It's just a cool colorway. So, Dags, I've been waiting to drop that bomb on you. So I got to find it here first. And then I want to get your legitimate impression on it, all right?
All right.
All right, so we're going to do here. Pull this up. All right, are you ready?
Yeah.
This is it.
Okay, let me look on my bigger screen. That's the color scheme you're dying for.
That is it.
What is that? Like Bebop pink and
South.
green from Barney?
It's a South Beach colorway. So the shoe, the promotional picture is kind of terrible. The green
Oh
that
no,
you're
it's just
seeing
that
is
monitor.
actually
Let me look on the better monitor. Okay, it looks more like seafoam now.
it's kind of like a turquoise, like a
Yeah,
blue,
it's like a soft seafoam looking.
and then it's a very hot pink is what the actual color is that you're getting there. The colorway is called South Beach.
It's cool.
As you can
Not for me, but it's cool.
I don't actually like the Air
They
Max
complement each
97
other.
all that much.
No, I'm not a big fan of the design of that shoe either.
No, I'm not a huge fan. However,
it
this
does
is
look
not
like
what
it
I'm
would be
looking
super
for.
comfy because I've noticed that usually
They
the
are
most
comfy.
ugly shoes are the most comfy shoes.
No, they are 100% comfy. Oh, poopy.
Hello,
But
poopy.
let me get you back here. Bam. So my buddy Vaughn, shout out to Vaughn. At Foot Locker, me and him was talking, and the shoe was on a ridiculously good deal. And he was like, I asked him, I said, do you have this in size 12? Just out of curiosity. And he's like, man, the only thing I've got this in is 11 and a half. And I was like, I could force an 11 and a half, but that's going to be tight. And I don't like it enough to do that. And he said, hey, how about if you order it through me here, I'll get it for the same price, but I'll get you the size 12. And I was like, done deal.
Nice.
Because I ended up saving like from even the sale price you saw just now, which is $150, I still ended up saving, God, probably about $80 from the list price of $170.
Dang. What
Yeah.
So how many pairs does that put you up to now?
Total?
Like, as of recently.
Oh, as of recently, if we're setting the bar at just since pandemic, let's see, 1, 2.
See where we're at.
7.
If I had a graph.
7 since probably 7 since about March, I would say February or March. Man, it's tough.
I'm gonna have to have an intervention with you.
And it's just going to get worse because there's so many Jordans getting ready to drop that I love. Like there's one coming up in 2 weeks. I'm for sure getting. There's one coming out this weekend. I'm for sure getting. Then there's another one, a Jordan 14, that's coming out in 4 weeks that I'm for sure getting. So it just keeps on going, and it's like, man, I can't win here. But a lot of them I'm planning on actually flipping because they're duplicates of shoes I already have.
I'm a fan of flipping stuff. I've been flipping figures here lately.
We are. Yeah. Me and you both have like very collector personalities anyways,
yeah,
but especially
fun.
from the perspective of flipping.
I like the community, I like the people involved, and I like flipping them.
Right.
It's fun.
Yeah. No, and it's cool. Like you said, Dags knows this. I was already into collecting figures along probably, I don't know, about 7 or 8 years or so. And
been doing it for a while, a lot longer than I have.
Dags always liked my wrestling figures, but didn't get into collecting them until here recently. And he jumped on the bandwagon hard.
Yeah, I wouldn't awesome. Partake because I was like, I can't do it. It's too nerdy. It's too far.
And then he gave in.
And then I gave in, and like, I don't know, it gives you like gives you a sense of joy, man. It's just like it's fun. You make friends through it. You just it's fun reaching out to people, selling, trading. Like I said, flipping. Sometimes you get lucky and you run across a figure for like $20, and you're like, I know that thing's easily worth $60. Like, then you flip it.
This is not our stupid soapbox moment, but this is going to be a feel-good moment of with everything going on in the world in general. It's chaos. It's hectic. It's infuriating. We're here for fun in general. We're here for distraction purposes. We're here to give you a break from that. But that being said, man, if you find something that you like doing in general, and you're worried that people are going to look at it and be like, well, that's lame. Well, fuck you, man. I'm not doing it for you. And if you're looking at something that you've always wanted to get into, but you're kind of worried about how people are going to think about it, are those people paying your bills? Are those people what you thrive and exist on? No, screw it, dude. Do what you want to do. Life's a garden, brother. Dig it.
Yeah, it really is. Live life for you. Love yourself. Treat yourself. Because if you can't love yourself and you can't treat yourself, who can you love and treat?
Dags, speaking of loving and treating yourself, and we're going to close after this, but speaking of loving and treating yourself, who told me one time when I called them while I was out shopping that your exact advice was treat yourself? When I tried to talk myself out of a 1X and a 4K TV.
That was
Dags
me.
did.
I did.
Who did it with shoes whenever I want to buy something, but I try to talk myself out of it because I'm pretty cheap? You did. Dags always backs me up, which is why I'm always bagging Dags up. Always got his back. If he wants something stupid, fuck
do it.
Do it, man. I got your back. As long as you are in TIFF or solid and your bills are paid and you're good, do it, baby.
Yeah, if you need that extra push to do something stupid, and by stupid I mean to buy that thing you've always wanted to buy but you just won't do it, and you need somebody to push you, go to our Twitter. Ask me to get. I will reply. And I'm like, you can do it. You deserve it. I will make it worthwhile that you should buy that. I'll make it make sense to you.
Talk to your boys at Flop Culture, specifically Dags, because I might sit there and go, you might want to figure out if your bills are paid. But Dags will look and go, you know what? Treat yourself.
I'll help you. I'll help you get there. I'll help you get that collection buzz going, and you'll just be like, oh yeah, I feel good. I'll help you.
Then you just jump right in.
I'll push that button. I'll do it because you're going to be saying like, man, I don't need to get that Xbox One. I'm going to say, I mean, you don't have to do a lot of things. You don't have to get up and go to work. You don't have to eat, but you do because you love yourself. Now get that Xbox.
I went out with the sole purpose of buying a 1X and a 4K TV. And I went to 2 separate stores and talked myself out of it twice, to the point where I'm walking around the store in one, and I call Dags on Facebook, and he picks up the phone. The first thing he said is, you're talking yourself out of the Xbox, aren't you? And I said, yep. And he said, buy it.
Well, I mean, to be fair though, you've been talking about getting that thing for over a year now.
I had been,
and you've had the money, literally extra money that wouldn't have hurt anything, 4 times, and you never got it. And every time you didn't get it, you're like, I should have got that Xbox. And so at that point, I was like, you need to get it, or you're just gonna kick yourself in the ass because you're gonna be going, this crappy box, man. I swear, it just loads slow. It's so slow.
Shit.
And then what were you doing the first night with the new Xbox? You're like, it loads so fast, man.
Oh my god. Fallen Order in 4K.
Right?
That was just Stormtroopers in 4K was the first thing I texted you, and it had a bunch of heart emojis with Stormtroopers in 4K. Oh man. But that's a very good point. On that, Dags is gonna go get some ibuprofen in his system, and I'm gonna feed my fat face with something. Get some dinner, man.
Get some dinner. That sounds good. What are you making me?
It does. All right. Well, you already had fried rice.
It was good.
See, that's why you have a TIFF and I have a nothing.
No. All right, go on, say it.
Say what?
Say it.
What would I say?
Say it.
Would it have anything to do with one of these? Keep it floppy.
Ridiculous.